Welcome to the video, guys. Now, I'm sure most of you are not surprised by the fact that people are still running around screaming how Brexit must be stopped. Now, of course, because of bat flu. It would seem the only thing more virulent than bat flu itself would be Brexit derangement syndrome, which is still flowing around the country, especially among the so-called celebrities and leftist elitists, who seem to think people actually care what they have to say, when in 99.9% of cases, about the topics which actually relate to them, which, let me tell you, politics is not one of them. Neither is the democratic choice made by the people of this country. With reports out yesterday suggesting Professor Brian Cox not only wants to delay the Brexit transition period, but wants to do it for an indefinite amount of time. So, not like many other people have been suggesting, a year or 2 year delay, this guy wants it indefinite, obviously because he is trying to stop Brexit altogether, making him the Stop Brexit Steve of the astronomical world. Now, surprise, surprise, this Remoaning Tosspot's anti-democratic opinion was ignored by the media, probably because it will upset a fair few people and doesn't really push their narrative any further to stop Brexit. It just makes him look like a bit of an idiot. Now, the Unity News Network article is relating to a tweet, which when I tried to find for myself, it appeared that Professor Brian Cox had actually blocked me. As far as I'm aware, I have never contacted him or even spoke about him in a video, though he felt the need to come and block me regardless. So thank you very much there, Brian Cox. It goes to show you must have at least seen my videos or one of my tweets to have thought to block me. I will wear it as a badge of honour, much like when The Guardian tried to smear me and had to lie about it to make themselves look better. Obviously, as he blocked me, I had to log out and take a look at these tweets for myself, so this is what they said. Brexit is a self-indulgence from another age. It should be shelved for an indefinite period until we have dealt with the long-term economic and social fallout of bat flu. It should be shelved for an indefinite period until we have dealt with the long-term economic and social fallout of Chinese bat flu. There can be no justification for imposing a second voluntary shock on the country in early 2021. And of course, as you can see there, his tweet was in response to this tweet here from Lisa O'Carroll, talking about the EU-UK Joint Committee today, which was of course the other day, 30th of March. That they was doing by teleconference, obviously, because of the situation going on, which he had to backtrack on not long afterwards, saying, "My language is lazy" in the above tweet. Let me clear it up. Brexit has happened, so we can't go back. No point arguing about that. No, you just want to indefinitely extend the transition period so we continue to pay billions of pounds to the EU, along with, of course, helping to bail out every country over there. Are you completely demented, mate? You're supposed to be smart, for fuck's sake. It doesn't take a rocket scientist, or in your case an astronomer or whatever you are, to figure out that being part of the EU is going to cost us a hell of a lot more money than even a no-deal Brexit in the middle of this current shit show. What we should do, and surely will, is to extend the transition until we've dealt with the pandemic and its aftermath. Focus on the task at hand. No, you shouldn't just focus on one thing solely. There are other things going on, likely that have been hidden away because of this nonsense. So, not only are you wrong about stopping Brexit or delaying it as you claim you want there, when we really know you want to stop it, you're saying you can only focus on the task at hand rather than focusing on things that are important to the country, which, let me tell you, is more than dealing with bat flu. Now, like I said before I started ranting about his tweets there and him blocking me, Unity News Network picked up on this, which I have to say was one of the only outlets that actually bothered to. Because, like I've said already, this doesn't help the BBC's agenda or any of the left-wing media in stopping Brexit, because even they understand no one cares what this snivelling shitweasel has to say. Except people like me who love to salt mine his bullshit. Taken to Twitter in response to the news that the post-Brexit negotiations would be taking place via a video link as we see a minute, he got extremely salty and posted his little tweet that I've read out already, and of course his response, which you can see there. However, not everyone agreed with Mr. Cox, and many were quick to challenge him on his view. Joel Rodriguez responded to the professor saying, "Brexit can't be shelved, Brian, because it's already happened. We're no longer an EU member, we've left the EU," and he is partly right there. Yes, we are no longer technically a member and we have technically left the EU, but we are in a transition period that Brian wants to extend. And if we believe the government, which is always something you should do with a pinch of salt, then that law won't be changing and we will be leaving at the end of the year, come what may. Hopefully, like I've said many times, he actually sticks to it. Others pointed out the struggles some EU member states faced during their time of crisis. A user by the name of Pippa Pepperpot wrote, "If you need more proof the EU exists for the bankers, the lobbyists and corporatists, and not for the people it supposedly represents, then you need to look no further than what is happening in Italy. A political union will never care about its people like their own country would," which is something I've said many times in my recent videos on the current situation in Italy, along with the way the EU is leaving them out to dry by of course being the completely incompetent, useless cesspool that it is. Another Twitter user by the name of Amelia wrote, "EU project stands like a house of cards. Bat flu exposes its malign nature, focused on federalism and dominance, bereft of compassion and love thy neighbour. Nations battling against bat flu and EU masters procrastinate. Cox thinks it's a better way. Profound immorality." Some, however, did agree with Mr. Cox because, of course, this is Twitter. We've seen the sort of nonsense that goes on there. Like when Boris Johnson tested positive for bat flu, there was countless people running around hoping that he died because, of course, they are the scum of the earth. It doesn't matter if you disagree with someone politically, you should still never wish ill on them. A Twitter user named Broxton wrote, "Save the UK, plan to rejoin the EU." Oh yeah, they pulled out a top Ramona from the comments section. "Plan to rejoin the EU before combined bat flu, Brexit and recession puts the UK into its own grave. It's suicidal and criminal to jeopardise the UK's future by squandering more billions of public money and government resources on Brexit." No, because even if the government triples what they've spent so far, they still wouldn't be at the levels of spending that the Labour Party would be at right now if these Ramonas would have got what they wanted and Labour or the Lib Dems would have been able to form a government on their own, or of course a coalition government, which would have been far more likely. Her Majesty's government have not entered the idea of extending the transition period and said that United Kingdom will continue on schedule. And that was the end of the article there, so yet again we have another Remoaning Tosspot. This time of course it's the snivelling shitweasel Professor Brian Cox who wants to stop the Brexit transition period, not just for a couple of years or a few months, but indefinitely, obviously, so he can hope that eventually Ramonas get into power and they can put the brakes on Brexit completely. We must constantly call these people out to ensure that it never hits the mainstream again like it did in the last few years before the general election. Because while the mainstream media is still full of these Ramonas, they have certainly pushed it back a bit, even before the bat flu situation become a thing, which is now their only thing, let's be honest. Now before I go, I've started doing live streams and uploading gaming content on my second channel. If you would like to come and join me for a live stream to chat in real time, have an interest in gaming related content on YouTube, or just want to follow me over there because you are a legend, the link will be down in the video description below and as a pinned comment. I hope to see you all there. Now as always, before I go, I want to thank our PayPal, Patreon, Subscribestar and YouTube members for supporting the channel, along with everyone who watches my videos. Remember to let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like, subscribe with the notification bell and share this video as it helps the channel a lot. And I will see you all in the next one.
There is a pattern consistent throughout history of oppressed people turning on the oppressors. Slaves against their owners, the peasantry against the feudal barons, colonies, Mr. Verhofstadt, against their empires. And that is why Britain is leaving. And it doesn't matter which language you use, we are going and we are glad to be going. We're off.